Welcome to another episode of Behind the Needle. Today we're with Jennifer Prince, an amazing business owner,
Thank you.
injector, mother, wife, just an incredible person.
Oh, thank you.
We've been talking for a minute before we started rolling, and I'm really excited to be able to chat with you today.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
absolutely. You're in Scottsdale, in North Scottsdale. Your place is beautiful.
Thank you.
My first time here, and I love plants too. You said you're a tree hugger, and I consider myself to be as well. And I love all the beauty that's around and in your space. So thank you for letting me be here today.
Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah. And I wanted to get right into it. Rather than starting off with how did you get to where you are, I wanted to talk about where you are. And right now you have Institute of Aesthetics, which is the name of the med spa, and you train lots of people from all over the country here. And I want to talk about, how did you know that this is where you wanted it to be? Was it something that you knew since you were a little girl or when you were getting started with nursing? But how did you know? And did you just create this vision for yourself? Kind of walk me through that first.
Okay, so absolutely, this was God's plan for me. This was not my plan. And so, yes, I do train a lot of advanced injectors and new injectors, but now we're in a world of aesthetics where people are going into this industry to be an aesthetic nurse provider.
Which wasn't the case
When I
even
started,
5 years
yeah,
ago, right?
not at all.
Yeah.
Yes, when I was a younger girl, I was always an artist, and I mean, with everything, any kind of art. I wrote songs. I thought I was going to be like Carrie Underwood one day, although Carrie wasn't even a person. I thought I was going to be like Lori Morgan or somebody,
Yeah.
growing up in Tennessee. But moved out here in 2000. My first degree was in nuclear medicine, so I worked in that until
Let me let me let me pause you there for a
yeah.
second. Nuclear medicine.
Yeah, I know, right?
What is that?
A lot of people don't understand it. So, yeah, I actually have a degree in physics. It's kind of crazy. Yes. So it's
So you're a genius.
no,
A
no,
genius
no.
artist.
I call myself a hard worker.
Yes, you
So,
are.
things didn't come easy for me. I grew up very, very poor from middle of nowhere, Tennessee,
Hmm.
from a single mom. She worked 3 and 4 jobs. I started working when I was like 13.
Wow.
And, had all kinds of jobs. I put myself through school, working multiple jobs. And when I got my first degree, it was really just, what can I make the most amount of money doing to
Yeah.
get myself out of that situation?
Same. I
So
was in
I
the
was in
same
like
boat.
that hungry mode.
Hmm.
And nuclear medicine was like, you could get out of school and actually get a job. And it was, something that would pay very well, mainly because you're working with radiation. So
Yeah.
I didn't really think about that at the time. Got married and moved out here in 2000 and started working for a cardiovascular center where I set up a nuclear cardiology center for them. So we were doing cardiac testing, so functional testing for
Mhm.
heart disease.
So in 2000, early 2000s, that
Mhm.
was really sounds like it was probably ahead of the curve on a lot of things.
It was, so cardiologists were just starting to do testing in their practices, and it was very lucrative for them.
Yeah.
And so I should never have gotten the job that I got out here. But I think the Southern charm, maybe like
100%.
somebody liked me and gave me a shot. I was a brand new, I just got out of school and never had a real job in nuclear medicine before. And so, but I realized really quickly that there was a business in it. So I worked and set up a lab for them, made it lucrative, went and did that for a bunch of other cardiologists around the country with my own business.
Hmm.
And then kind of the insurance reimbursement fell out. So then what had actually happened is that cardiologists could no longer self-refer for testing. So they had to refer to like hospital and imaging centers started doing it. And
Okay.
so I would have had, at this time, my girls were little,
Yeah.
and I would have had to go and take call in the hospitals at night. And I didn't want to do that. So I'm like,
No.
okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
So I decided to go to PA school. So I was in line to go to PA school, and I kept calling because at the time, even back then, and this was, in the early 2000s, there was a wait list to
Yeah.
get into PA schools. And so finally, I a girl was like, you could start nursing school like immediately. You already have a nuclear medicine degree. It's technically in allied health. So I had a bachelor of science in
Uh-huh.
allied health for nuclear medicine. And so she's like, you could just go to nursing school. I'm like, I don't want to be a nurse. What are you
Right.
talking about?
Right.
You know?
Because you were probably thinking a nurse works in a hospital and
Yeah.
takes care of sick patients or
Right.
labor and delivery or
Right. And
yeah.
I had always been like a testing kind of girl. Like you see someone for a short period of time, you do a really good job, you build connection and you move on.
Yeah.
And I felt really good about that kind of a scenario. So long story short, I ended up calling the school. They said, oh, you can, this was like in December. They're like, you can start January 15th.
You're like,
And I'm like,
oh,
and I prayed about it. I'm like, God, is this your path for me? Like, is
right.
this what I'm supposed to do? And I did it. So I ended up going to Grand Canyon, getting a nursing degree. And then immediately out of school, I applied. I was looking for things that were clean, like things that I could actually do and still be a mom. And I applied for this job with a plastic surgeon, and I was not qualified at all at this time. I had medical experience in nuclear medicine, but I didn't have any experience in
Nursing. Yeah,
plastics
in
or
plastics. Yeah,
nursing.
yeah.
Yeah, and he hired me. And
It's
so
the Southern charm. It
there
must
you
have
go.
been.
I mean, like it was luck. I think I'm a lucky person, honestly.
So you get this job. You're super excited. It was convenient with what you were doing, but it didn't sound like you really had like a passion for anything plastics or
No,
cosmetic or aesthetic.
no.
So you're going and you're working. And then what happens?
Yeah.
You start realizing, oh, I actually do love
Yeah.
this and have an affinity or what?
Yeah. So I'm so blessed that this surgeon literally taught me everything. I was able to do, I did pre-ops, I did post-ops for
Mm-hmm.
him. I did in-office OR procedures. I sold surgery sometimes. And
That's
then,
an amazing
yeah,
experience
I
to
mean,
do all
I
these
got to
things.
learn the business inside and out, and I was
Yeah.
with him for a really long time. And he had no injector at the time and only did a little Botox on his own.
Is this because it wasn't really
Yeah,
what?
it was just starting out,
Yeah,
right? This
yeah,
is, Botox was FDA approved in 2002, but most people didn't start really bringing it into their practice till 2004, 2005.
yeah.
And so during that time, he was like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was at first kind of like, not really,
Like I don't even
like
know
the
what
thing
this
that,
is.
yeah, no, I mean, what I loved about plastics is that because I got to stay with a patient from the time that they were first coming in to get education about the procedure
Yeah.
through their post-op recovery
Recovery,
and all that. I built these
follow-ups.
amazing relationships.
Hmm.
And I loved that part of it.
The relationship
The
building you loved.
relationship. And
Okay.
that's still, which we'll talk about, that's still like what I love today about what I do is like
Yeah.
those relationships. And so, yeah, so I started injecting and I got some training and
And did you know any other injectors when you started?
no,
None.
there were two Allergan trainers. So this was before Galderma even had a whole training platform at all.
Yeah.
This Allergan, there were two trainers in the state, and
Wow.
us, and they became my mentors. So Julie Van Drunen and Pat Foley.
Okay.
And they both are, Julie maybe still works a teensy bit just doing Botox, but Pat retired a few years ago. And so they were the first. And so they came in and they trained me. And so, but
But
I
there
was,
wasn't a lot of like
there was no,
like colleagues or anything or people that you could talk to. It
no.
was really
And
just the
right.
trainers
It
and
was
you
just
and
the trainers. And I'm like, wait a minute, but I don't understand this. Like, what happens? Where's my needle really? Like, what happens if I screw up? Like, it was the blind leading the blind back then.
So, and I know I wanted to talk about the how did we get here, and this is it. But I'm just thinking, if I were you, when this was first happening, I would be freaked out.
Oh,
You are adventurous to take this on.
Yeah.
So I know you said you shouldn't have gotten the first job. You shouldn't have gotten the second job. I think that without being in the interviews, I think I know why you got it, because you're not afraid.
no.
You're not afraid to look at something, say, oh, this actually does interest me. This sounds cool. I know I could learn that because I work really hard. Yeah, I'll do it. And I think that people probably, because I can tell just by talking to you, I think that people probably sense that in you and they're like, this person knows what she's doing. She knows how to learn. She's going to figure it out. So how did you even sell Botox treatments? If you were the only one of the only ones,
Yeah.
How did you sell it?
Well, it was so easy for me.
Okay.
So, and that's the whole key. And that's what I don't think a lot of injectors understand
Still. Okay.
is that I had these relationships with all these people that I had taken care of. And I
Yes.
mean, say for instance, you have a surgery, you're scared, and someone is there saying, "Oh no, you got this." Like maybe you have a wound care issue that you take care of that person for. Like these women trusted me, men and
Yeah.
women, right? So when I said, "Hey, I learned this, and we can do this," they're going to do whatever because they have confidence in me.
Because you established credibility.
Mm-hmm.
And
Trust.
trust, and that's really what it comes down to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't just walk in thinking, oh, I'm going to become an aesthetic injector and make $1 million in my first year
Oh God, yeah,
if
yeah,
you don't take care of people.
yeah.
And that's really, you're saying, what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
You have to build that trust. So you did. So you started getting patients.
Yeah. And I think it's funny it's so funny, like how people think we're all rich. I made $25 an hour, $25 an hour, period.
Period.
No commission, no nothing. And I had 2 degrees and lots of student loan debt.
I was gonna ask, like student debt, or
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so
So it's funny sometimes when I hear these brand new injectors and they think they're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm just like, wow.
it's not impossible.
No, but you have to start somewhere.
You have to start
Yeah,
somewhere. So
yeah.
okay, so you're going through, you're making 25 an hour.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
patients
yeah,
trust you,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
what happened next? Were you
Well,
like,
I just
I know I
started
can do more?
fell in love with skin,
Okay.
and so I'm like, if I have a patient and they are, they are seeing me for Botox and for a little fillers, like we were just dabbling in the fillers in that point in time, right?
Yeah,
We had
yeah.
Restylane and then Juvederm. But I'm like, I I could start doing some skin. And so I got additional training. And at that point in time, like I said, I was having patients come back because I'm like, I don't know what this is going to look like. Like, come and let me see, did I do a good job or not? Like, I
Right.
didn't know if I was any good. And I really wasn't, because you just didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so I got obsessive about learning. And so
And you still are.
I am. I'll always, my daughters actually laugh at me and they're like, how many degrees you're going to end up with, Mom? Like, I am that person that will probably be like 80 years old, like going back to school for some philosophy degree or something. But yes, so that's kind of how it transpired, is that I started seeking out training opportunities, and I would have to travel. So I was flying to Atlanta. I was flying to,
because that's where everybody was. That was doing the
yeah.
trainings.
Like, who are the doctors that are doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Who's been in the clinical trials?
So you're making 25 an hour with student loans, and you're still paying for extra training.
Oh, I was so negative that probably first 5 years, like I was paying to work.
5 years.
I did that I think I was like maybe 3 years into injecting when Allergan came to me and said, will you train for me? And I said, I'm not qualified. And they're like, Jen.
Yes, you are.
Like
you know more than everyone else.
Yeah. So like that, you got to step up. And so, and I did.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how the transition of me training happened, is I stepped up and I'm like, okay, there wasn't a whole lot of, there wasn't like a roadmap of how to train someone. And so I helped develop that in the sense. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so if it was me and I could go back, like, what did I need? What do I wish I knew?
Wow.
What do I wish I had? And
okay,
how
so
can
this
I
is
be
really
that?
good. So you, again, were the perfect person for this, because this is the pattern that I see. It's like, I don't know what to do, but I know how to figure it out. And would you say that you learned that from watching your mom?
Oh, yeah.
Because single mom, worked 3-4 jobs. She didn't know what was going on.
Quitting is never an option. I learned that from my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and you do things you're scared of every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
So being scared doesn't mean you stop. It just means you figure out what to do. So were you thinking, am I crazy? I'm doing this for 5 years. I'm in the hole. I'm still a trainer. I'm doing this, but like, when does the money come? Like, what was the thought process?
Yeah.
Or was that not the purpose?
So I think I'm a little bit different. And so I think it just goes back to my roots, in the sense that for me, being wealthy is different than maybe for a lot of people what being wealthy is.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't like debt.
Okay.
So I live below my means so that I don't have debt. And so it took that whole like, oh my God, can I pay my rent kind of scenario down? Like I tried to be in that space.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was negative, but it was also like I knew that like okay, it's probably going to sound very biblical here, but that's okay. So
That's
if
okay.
you live a life of abundance,
Yeah.
you always have enough.
Right.
So I try to stay in that space. I try to raise my family in that space.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I really wasn't looking at it that way at the time. I think I was just starved for more.
Got it.
And yeah, and so I left that plastic surgeon and I would have stayed with him forever, but
Yeah.
he got remarried and brought in someone to run the skincare side and um it didn't align with me
And
anymore.
I was gonna say you felt a shift happening. So
Mhm.
then you went to
I
another
went to a different plastic surgeon
and then another.
and then another. Yeah. So the first plastic surgeon, he had multiple surgeons in a practice. So there were 3, then there were 2, then there was just him. Well, I was with him and then I went to a different plastic surgeon and
Got it.
the second plastic surgeon I was able to do the same thing, which
Yep.
is take care of surgical patients and inject. And what I really loved about that practice is that I did a lot of nurse navigator stuff. So I took care of all of the breast recon patients, so
Mhm.
expansions and things. And oh, I loved that. That
Yeah.
was really great. And then I just got so busy injecting with that surgeon that I had to just slowly give up the other part.
Yeah.
And then the third plastic surgeon that I worked for, I only did aesthetics for.
Amazing. So what year was this then?
So I started this practice in 2018. So I left the last plastic surgeon the first part of 2018 to come and open this practice. And the reason why I did end up leaving him, which he's a great guy. And
Yeah.
again, I have a lot of respect for the people that I've worked for. It was mainly that I was wanting to do more one-on-one training and there just wasn't space. He
Mm.
had multiple injectors and it was I was training out of a kitchen and I just wanted to have space to really like expand the training platform that I was building. And I had like in 2016 I or 15 maybe I had developed my training, kind of gotten it to where I wanted it to be, and I
Uh-huh.
wrote a training manual and I started doing private training and I didn't know what to pay for or like charge for it. Like I was way undercharging and whatever. And but yeah, so then this kind of gave me that opportunity to like expand and really truly like grow what I was passionate about for
Yeah.
myself.
So that was 2018.
Mhm.
Crazy stuff happened a couple years later.
Mhm.
Everything shuts down.
Mhm.
It opens back up. You continue on training. I think that if I become an aesthetic injector, I come here to
Mm.
see you because
Thank you.
you are so knowledgeable. You have the experience, you care. And even just listening to you about how you cared for those patients, I'm sure you still talk to some of them
Oh,
who
they're awesome, my patients
exactly,
today.
right?
Yeah,
So we're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
20
Yeah,
years
yeah.
of patients and they keep coming back because you take care of them. I believe that if I were your student, you would need a lot of patience, first of all, with me, but you would care about me just as you did with them. And I know that I would get the training that I need and the care.
I just gosh, like I'm at this place now where I'm like, what's your legacy?
Okay.
And it makes me so proud to walk into like a big, let's say, industry dinner and look around
And know
and know
everyone.
that I trained these girls
Yeah.
and know that they're successful and that they're building their businesses and it's provided for their
That's amazing.
families. I mean, it makes me emotional talking about it because, like, and I don't want this to sound like it's come from an egotistical place, but like the fact that like I have had an impact on their lives, their livelihood, their children, their children's children, like wow, what a gift.
Oh, that is. It's not
It's
egotistical at
emotional
all.
for me.
It
But yeah.
is. It is. And it's true because they're all at one point where you were, but the difference is that you were the one who had to pave the way.
Yeah, I didn't have anyone to do that for me.
No,
And so that's why I mentor so many, because
it's
I
amazing.
want them to have that. And then I want them to mentor others. That's how we raise the bar in this
Yeah.
industry. That's how we become better.
So then
Mhm.
2021, 2022, you're having feelings of, oh, I'm supposed to become an NP now.
It's something I'd wanted to do
I've
forever.
been following
Yeah.
you for a couple of years, at least 2 or 3, and I remember when I saw that post and I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be interesting to see." So
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
moved back to Nashville,
Well,
or
I lived
you
here, but I
lived
had
here
to go back and forth
because you were at
for
Vanderbilt,
yeah, yeah.
because you are a genius,
Oh, stop.
and so you would go back and forth, and
Yeah.
the program was accelerated,
It was 11 and a half months. It was the
which is
quickest one in the
crazy,
country. Insane,
and
insane,
you
insane.
weren't injecting.
No, I was.
You were?
Yeah, no. So here's how it plays out. So it's a 3-semester program.
Okay.
And so I injected 2 days a week, running 3 rooms. So I saw about 20 to 25 patients 2 days a week. And then 3 days a week, I did clinical rotations. And then I took 7 classes a semester. So fall semester, I was in all the 5 Ps. So anybody who's in NP school understands this. So
This is crazy.
7 classes a semester. So yeah, and I was a mom, and I was trying to get my youngest daughter into
Oh my
college,
gosh.
and I was a wife, and life happened. My daughter fell off a horse, and I had a traumatic spine injury, and so I had
Cheated.
my
Oh,
my daughter in Texas.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so I
okay,
had
okay.
to like go and take time and be there for her. She was in recovery, and like it was hands down the most trying year of my life.
I'm sure that
Of
it
my life,
was,
yeah. So
but I'm
I did
sure
it.
you followed the process of
I
what
made
you.
1 A minus, so I graduated with a 3.97, and I was so mad. Oh God, I
What was
fought
the A
that lady
minus?
for the. It was in primary care, and it was
Did
just
she know
yeah.
what she was doing?
She didn't care.
What is her
She was
name?
like, "You
What
made
is
an A
her?
minus. I know you
Don't
made an A minus.
don't
Sorry,
name
it's
don't name
okay."
her.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I did it.
I
Yeah.
round up in
Okay.
life,
Yeah.
and I'm
So
gonna
I was
round up for
close.
you. You got a 4.0.
Thank
Okay, you got
thank
it. You
you.
earned it.
Thank you.
That's like one question of one homework assignment.
I know it was so frustrating.
Anyways,
So close.
you were there.
Okay.
So luckily, that didn't impact you from failing and not graduating.
Yeah. I made it. Yeah. I know.
So you finish.
Yes.
Everything is wonderful after that?
Oh man. So yeah, no.
No.
So we could talk for hours about these things, but like
Let's talk about
the deep, dark, dirty.
since this is the behind the needle,
Yeah.
why don't you tell me the deep dark dirty?
Okay. The deep,
What
dark,
happened?
dirty. Okay. Well, couple things. Through hardship comes growth. Okay.
Yes.
Always. I wasn't present in my practice, so I wasn't a very good leader that year.
You were an injector twice
I
a
was,
week, but
and
then
then
you were gone, so
I
you
was gone.
really
I
couldn't
wasn't.
lead.
My team is only as good as my leadership. The biggest growth moment happened for me. Like you have to understand, I was in my early 20s when I had my children.
Yep.
And for a lot of those years, I was a single mom as well.
Okay.
And so my older daughter had already gone to college before I started in P school, but my younger daughter started college in August. That is when I graduated in P school.
Yeah.
So I start college, or I finished school in August, take my younger daughter to college, and then I come back. I'm officially an empty nester, and then my husband gets this amazing job offer in Texas. So God put me in a situation, or universe, or whatever you believe in, where I was alone for the first time in my life. The first time in my life. And I had to sit with myself. And so, like, I'm so blessed for it, but like, I was in such a PTSD trauma response from being in school that whole time and shutting down emotionally, and then having my kids leave me.
And the A minus.
And that, yes. So not to get so deep about it, but
no, get deep. That's
but
okay.
I look back to like the last 6 months of last year, and I have very little memory of it because I was like, wow.
Really?
Yeah, I think I had to learn for the first time in my life what I wanted. Like, it wasn't
Wow.
like what I have to do for my children, what I have to do for my husband, what I have to do for the business. It was
It
like,
was you.
yeah, do I want to go to the grocery store? What do I want to eat? Do
You
I
had
even want to
never
eat? Like
yeah.
all of these like little minuscule decisions that you make every day for other people, because I had always done that for other people, and I never actually like been present in my body to give
Wow.
myself space to do that.
And it was terrifying.
Oh, traumatizing, but
Interesting.
the best thing ever that has happened.
Hmm.
So I learned myself,
Yeah.
and I learned what was important. And
What
I
it so
learned,
what
yeah,
we'll talk about that, but, like, you literally had an opportunity that you're lucky to have because not everybody gets that, and if you hadn't gotten the job offer, if your kids were different ages, or if they had stayed
yeah,
home,
yeah,
you
yeah,
wouldn't have had that, and I like what you said about I'm gonna paraphrase,
yeah.
after the trial or through the because of the trial, that's when you experience the growth. So, miserable in certain areas, you had to sit with yourself, probably had a lot of come to Jesus moments with yourself, and then what? What was so it was the last 6
Yeah,
months
yeah. I
of last year.
realized, yeah, it was the last 6 months of last year. Oh, and during that time also, I lost pretty much my entire staff.
Your
So
whole staff.
my whole staff. Um,
That's true
Sydney,
because
I
I look at a picture from last summer
mhm,
on your Instagram and it's
complete different
and
people.
then, like, a few
Yeah,
weeks
and it
ago, and it's
wasn't
different.
anything in particular. It wasn't like I was this bad person, so everyone left me. It was all circumstantial. It was all like my front desk, who'd been with me for 3, 4 years,
Yep.
retired and moved into a different field. And then,
Mhm.
my one of my injectors moved back to be with her family in Kansas City. And then, it was just, I had 2 pregnant employees that decided to be stay-at-home moms. So it was all of that. But
Yeah.
for me, it was like, okay, like I'm losing
It's
everybody.
kind of a big deal when your entire
I'm losing
team
everybody. Like I lost my kids, I lost my husband. Granted, we're still together, but like he was in Texas Monday through Friday every week. So lost my kids, lost my husband, lost my team.
it really
So
was just you.
it was like, yeah, it was me. And it was like somebody shaking me like, Jen. And
Wake up.
so wake up.
Something's happening.
Yeah. And I realized like this whole pattern of achievement for me is
Hmm.
a trauma response. Like
Interesting.
it's a why. Like what is your why, Jen? Like and it truly is for me about experiences and family and like being present and what makes me feel connected. And I'm like anything that I could buy, anything I could buy. I'm not going to want it in 5 years. Anything. Like even a car, like in 5 years you probably don't even want it anymore. Like I mean a home, yes, but like all of the material things that people work so hard for, like none of that matters.
Pointless.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. So why did you stay here? Why
Mm.
didn't you go to Texas? I'm not saying anything about what you should have done because
Oh
I
yeah.
don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go be with your daughters? Why didn't you
Mm.
split time?
Yeah, it's I have a responsibility to those women I've been injecting all these years,
Mm,
because for me it's not they are my family. When someone comes into me and like people say, how have you been successful in this industry, Jen? And it truly is because I I haven't had to take new patients in 3, 4 years. And it's because the people that I injected back then, I'm still injecting. They're close to me. I know about their kids. I know about if their husband cheated on them. I know if they feel invisible and if they need me to like play with their hair and tell them they're beautiful and kiss their cheek. Like I know that. And
mm.
so that is what's missing from this industry. It gets emotional again. I'm sorry.
Get
But like
emotional. That's
this industry has become something that I don't like. That I am like, what? Like it's not about your ego. It's not about dancing on TikTok. It's not about that. It's about we have a responsibility to people to help them feel good in their bodies.
yeah.
And that is a huge responsibility. It's my responsibility to not over inject them. It's my responsibility to tell them no. It's my responsibility to help them age the best that I can.
I'm going to add something to that
Yeah.
because I think that this is missed it's your responsibility to suggest what you know would be beneficial for them too.
Mhm.
Because if you know it all, and you can look at someone's face and be like, I know that if we injected like however many vials of
Yeah.
Sculptra or
Yeah.
filler or whatever, that you would achieve what you're doing. That's your obligation as well.
Mhm.
So you kind of just sat with yourself and you realized, I feel happy taking care of these people this way.
Mhm.
It's not about the purses and the cars.
Yeah.
It's not about taking care of other people, because really when it comes down to it, the only relationship that will last forever is the one with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I learned to love myself during that process. I learned
Yeah.
to enjoy the time where I go home and I sit with my dogs or I meditate. I'm a 5 a.m. meditator in the morning. And
Good
so
for
like
you.
I learned to love those
Yeah.
things. And it took me a minute, it took me a minute, but like it's made me better in my practice. It's made me a better leader. It's made me learn to delegate
Hmm.
and
Lead.
lead and not avoid. I was a very
Mm.
avoidant person. It was very easy for me to just avoid conflict, avoid having to be the boss, avoid things because I was a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And so if I just avoided it, I thought it would go away. And it doesn't.
No, it just gets
No, it
worse.
gets worse. Hmm.
So is this what you meant in that Instagram post where you said you stopped working to live and now you're living, or what did you say? I wrote it down.
Yeah, I stopped
You stopped
living
living
to
to work
work
and
and
started
started
working
working
to
to
live.
live. I look at work now as like an opportunity to provide me the safety and security to take care of my family and to take care of those employees that depend on me every day. And that's a weight I carry.
Yep.
I think I don't want to speak of this, but sometimes I feel like some employers don't take on that weight. And for me, I carry that deeply.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to hire another, for instance, I'm not going to hire another um, provider until my providers are already at their capacity and busy because I want to support their growth and like
Yeah.
I'm loyal to that growth for them.
Yeah.
And so, some people just look at employees as numbers like they're not to me. Like these women here, I love. And I believe God tended my garden. I believe the people that are in my life right now and in my team are so chosen for me.
Yeah.
And like as I elevate and I come into a different energetic space, all of those around me changes and come into it that similar like space with me. And I think that in all life, as I grow, people around me grow.
You know what's interesting? And you just said that, and all of this stuff got cleared out of your life,
Mhm.
and you evolved,
Oh
didn't you?
yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm not the same person I was a year ago at all.
So the team changed on its own
Mhm.
because they evolved, or you did, or both at the same time. And so I think it had to. And it's interesting because I don't really know like the ins and outs of what happened at all, but it's interesting because it feels like in order for you to be able to be as content and peaceful as you feel right now, everything had to line up in a certain way.
Mhm.
And it was probably painful and uncomfortable, and you had to embrace that discomfort, whether you wanted to or not. You had to have conversations. You had to sit with yourself and think about what you really wanted. Aren't you glad that it happened?
Oh, yeah. And, even if I look at like other people's lives, like, and I've had injectors leave me in the past that I've mentored and stuff. And there was
It's
a
the
point
nature of the
yeah, it is.
industry.
And, I used to be hurt by it because I blur lines with employees and I love them.
Yeah.
So, and I know I do that. And I would try to say that I'm going to love them anyway. Like,
You're going to
I'm a
do it.
hugger, I'm a lover, I'm a, nurturer. But I look back and I'm like, I'm so grateful all of it happened.
Mm,
Like all the people that have come into my life and left my life, it's been good for me. It's been good for them. I'm really good with it all. And
good.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I'm exactly where I need to be right now. And I'm really, really good and comfortable in my own skin.
I love it. I wanted to ask what's one thing you would change, but I think I'm going to try to answer it and see if I'm right
Okay.
based off what we talked about. I think that if you were going to change anything, it would be stop making aesthetics as something that you're going to add on to your practice, whether you're in Whether you're a med spa or not, or a plastics or not, I know a lot of other industries where they have doctors are bringing on Botox and filler. I think it's stop trying to make it a money grab and improve your bottom line and take care of people and make them feel beautiful inside and out. Is that what you would?
Yeah, I think,
And if not,
you know,
correct me, of
if
course.
I could give just any injector across the board advice, it would be, you might not like this actually.
Me.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
personally. Social media lies.
I do like that because I agree.
I can't tell you how many injectors call me weekly saying they're about to lose their practice. The economy is in a really bad pace right now, but they see on social media that everybody else is busy, and is it just them, and how are these people affording to do this and that and all of the things, and
Hmm.
it is such a lie. And
S-
so don't get like, I don't want people to get caught up on it. You know, if you're building the relationships, if you're doing things for the right reason, if
Yeah.
you're putting your effort into education, like, you will grow organically and you will have really good kind of relationships that will sustain your business forever.
Yeah. Or as long as you
It's
want,
or
right?
as long as you want.
Yeah.
But it's I see all these girls like trying to like blow up and they think that they're not good enough. And that's sad for me
Hmm.
because, I started social media, I think it was like maybe 2012 or 2013. And that was only because my daughter made me. And I've been running my own social since then. And my goal is not to grow on social media. My goal is to just put enough out there to be relevant for my business. And to show people like the quality of my work and things like that for that.
Hmm.
Um, do I care if I have a million followers or whatever these people are? I mean, like, no,
No.
I don't care about that. That doesn't even relate to patients. And that's what I think is really funny, because so many people will like, yes, if, like, for instance, when I got married and I posted pictures of my wedding, yeah, I'm going to get tons and tons and tons of likes for that.
Yeah.
But did that equate to patients coming and booking appointments in my practice? No.
Exactly.
So I think people get that mixed up in their head. They think they just want to be popular, and then it gives them a dopamine hit, and then they get like the ego kind of gets driven, and then they're searching for that additional dopamine hit. That has nothing to do with aesthetics. That has nothing to do with medicine. It has nothing to do with where we're at.
Before we started recording, you were excited because you have someone in house now.
Yes.
And I think that's great. And then you said, I'm so excited to hand it off.
Yeah.
And I looked at you and I said,
I actually said I'm so excited to peace out.
peace out. And I
Yeah.
said, and I said, nope.
Yeah.
But here's why I said that.
Yeah.
Because social media, see, here's what everybody thinks. At first, they think it's totally real. And then they think it's totally fake. But the reality is it's a combination
Yeah,
of
I agree.
both. It is, even if you are a real person and you're only sharing things that are real, which there's these influencers out there that are like, I'm just keeping it real. I'm doing this. That's fine. But you're not sharing everything ever.
Right.
And that is still curation, right?
Right.
So you can share curated things that are good or learning experiences or hard or bad or whatever you want to call it. But the point is that social media is a really good tool if you choose to use it as a tool. So what do I mean by that? I think if I were you, and I'm going to give you advice, you can take it if
I
you
love
want.
it. Go ahead.
The way that I use social media, if I have someone in-house, is I am having them help gather details of every day that I work and say, what is something that I can share that would be relevant and interesting to my followers? Because you did that on your own when you were growing your business under those plastic surgeons. But the difference is you had to repeat yourself over and over anytime you wanted to tell someone. Social media is great because it allows you to amplify your voice, and then you can tell as many people as you want at one time. So keep it the way that you would use just a normal conversation and just share, even if it's 20 or 30 seconds a day. Because here's why. When you consistently share and you see the same content from the same people, what happens when they see you is they feel exactly like where you are in that moment. The trust and the credibility is even stronger. And they know, like for me, I'm super into gardening right now.
Me too.
I'm loving it. We'll
Yeah.
have to talk gardening
Okay. Yeah.
later, but I love it. And I've been posting about it a lot. It has nothing to do with my business, has nothing to do with my
Yeah.
family. It's me.
Mhm.
But people know that I'm doing this and they're very interested in it. And it humanizes me in a way. And it's another way for them to keep eyes on what I'm doing. And if I want to start talking about other things, it's there. So don't peace out
Yeah.
totally,
No,
but get her
you're
to
right.
help
Yes.
you to
Yes.
stay organized so that you don't have to feel like you're sharing stuff you don't want to, or you're not carrying the burden. Because that's the difference. Like you can outsource everything to us, but if you have somebody that's in-house doing it for you, you just share a little bit, and it can still be the hard and the real, but imagine it's just a consultation moment or you're talking to your patients in that way. I think that that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think I got a little burned out because
Totally.
for 11, 12 years, I was at 5:30 a.m. doing social media. And
That's
and
exhausting.
yeah, but I made it a part of my life, so I could take 15 minutes but after my meditation
Yep.
between 5:30 and 5:45 a.m. People are always like, "Why are you posting at like 5:30 in the
This is
morning,
when I
Jen?"
have time to do
That's
it.
when I have time.
That's
I
when
get
I
more
have
done
time.
before 9 than most people do all month.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
yes, no, I agree with you. I'm not going to be gone.
Don't leave
It's not.
us.
No, it's just it's time for a little bit of a,
A breather. Well, I
yeah,
think that this is exactly in line with what you were saying. It's
yeah,
you're resetting and you're realigning or aligning
yeah,
your business with how you want your life to be. So you don't have to do 5:30 to 5:45 every morning
yeah. I know.
anymore. Because
Yeah,
nobody wants to do
nobody
that.
wants to do that.
Nobody.
No.
That's too early.
Yeah, it is.
Um, have you taken the Enneagram?
Oh yes.
What number are you?
Oh, could you want to guess?
No, because I have a
Okay.
really good friend who's in a mastermind with me named Tracy
Okay.
O'Malley. Tracy. She says we're not supposed to guess each other's type.
Oh, okay.
I'm mentally
Yeah.
guessing,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to say it out
So
loud.
I am a 3, which is an achiever.
I knew you were a 3.
But I have I have double, like I have a strong wing of a 2.
Okay.
So what that really means is that I like to achieve, but I don't really enjoy it if I can't help others achieve too.
Love it.
And I think that's been kind of the
I knew that's what you were.
foundation of
But
my
I
life,
wasn't
right?
going to type you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Because I just took it the other day and I thought I was a 2, but I'm actually a 3 as well.
There you go.
And I was shocked.
You probably are like me then. You may have like the wings of 2. So you encompass like both.
Yeah, we just like helping people. I think we
Yeah.
like helping people achieve what we believe that they can.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't believe.
What they don't
That-
know that they can.
Exactly. We're on the same page.
Yeah, I love it.
We're almost done. I just have a few more questions.
Sure.
You've said that empowering women is your soul, not SOLE, SOUL purpose, which I really liked that. I've never heard anyone say it's my sole purpose. And I know you have 2 daughters. We've talked about them, that they look up to you, which is, they have a great mom.
Thank you.
I know they're one of your top priorities because we've said that, and you don't have to mentor others or do these things that you do. But if there's one thing that you want your girls to know, what is it?
So I get asked this all the time about like, I mean, I'm so proud of my girls. Everybody is proud of their children, but like, what was my secret sauce to motherhood and like what I want for them and what is my biggest kind of thing that I want them to learn.
Yeah.
And I think it's really been that because I was so young when I had them, I feel like we have like a soul age. Like I'm very, like I still feel 17 on the inside of my body. I'm in my mid 40s now, but like I still go through the day and be like, wait a minute, am I the grown up? Am I supposed to make this decision? Like, wait a minute, how does that, like, why are they asking me? I don't know. I'm just 17. Like literally like my inner dialogue still goes and does that daily. Yeah. And so like growing up with my girls, like I just was vulnerable with them. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm scared too. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, I like that really is, it's a hard decision. Like, and and even building my business, I can remember, oh God, this will make me emotional. There were times where I leaned way too much on my kids. And that's one of my biggest kind of regrets is I worry that like, okay, did I make them be the mother sometimes? Because I was 17 and scared. And, I'd gone through a divorce. I was a single mom, was trying to build a business. And I can remember like laying on my daughter's bed with her when I actually went to try to go get a loan, a business loan. I was a dreamer. I signed a lease here, didn't have a business loan. And I'm like, I've got good credit. I got some money in the bank. They'll give me a loan. Oh, I was insane. They looked at me and they were like, do you have profit and loss statements? Do you have bank statements? Like they offered me $7,000. And I'm like, that's not even going to pay for chairs. Like, what are you? So like, I can remember like going and laying in bed with my daughter and gosh, she's 18 now. So this was 2018. Like she was younger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so scared. I'm just so scared. Like, what if I fail? And she was like, but mom, like it's too late now. What if you fly?
Right.
Like she's like giving me, she's like, what's the worst thing? So you fail. That's okay. What's the worst thing?
She's like, Mom, what she was saying was, I don't even really know what fail means, Mom, because you're not going to let me down.
Yeah.
You're going to figure out how to do something else.
She's like, and so like we kind of got that motto together for all of us is like, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, like the best things I've done in my whole entire life, I've been the most scared of. And I've done them. I've prayed about them. I've talked to my loved ones. But they've all been successes. And I think like taking yourself out of that place of comfort and like, if we are alive, I want to live full out in color.
Yeah.
I don't want to be gray. I want to be like bright yellow. So, the thing that I think my girls will tell you is they will call me like last weekend when I had to reschedule. Like there are times where they call me and they need me. And I am there for them in a second. Like they will always be my priority. Yeah. Like God put me on this earth to be a mother. It's the most important thing to me. Nothing comes equal to that.
Yeah.
But I want them to always do things they're scared of. And I want them to fail. And if they do, we always have the saying where it's like, well, take a shower and go to bed.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if it's 9 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, I'll tell my daughter, like, did you take a shower? Yes. Okay, go to bed.
Go to bed.
Tomorrow's another day. Like, you can put your big girl pants on tomorrow. Yeah. And, like, we have this saying, we call it future me problem. So, like, if we're going through something and it's kind of too heavy at the time, and we put it away and we're like, that's future me. Future me can handle that tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, no one's perfect. But I think, like the thing I'm most proud about is just teaching my girls that I'm not perfect either.
Yeah.
And I don't expect that from them.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. 3 more little questions. When you're not injecting and now that you're not studying and you're not flying, when you're not injecting, what are you doing?
I have a fun life.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you do?
So
garden.
I garden.
Okay.
Not really vegetables. I call myself a plant whore, which is probably not like the best word to use, but I propagate plants. I have a lot of plants.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ride horses, so I'm a horse girl. Like most of y'all know that about me. I have too many Labradoodles that are my whole life.
Are they as crazy as everyone says?
No, mine are so good.
Okay.
They're older though.
Okay.
So I have a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old, so they're good.
They've calmed down.
I love to fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad was a fishing guide when I was growing up. So people don't always know that about me.
No. Do you go to Tempe Town Lake and fish?
No, I don't fish here. I don't fish here.
Good,
I go back to Tennessee and fish.
I always imagine the Tempe Town Lake fish are like the 3-eyed fish that you see in The Simpsons.
I like to fly fish. I'm not very good at fly fishing, but I like to
That's awesome.
Regular bass fish or fish for like smaller.
That's awesome. Do you ever noodle the fish? You catch them with your bare hands?
No. I mean, like I have to, like my hands insured, man. Like
That's true.
Can't like let somebody, let somebody like use that. Yeah, I like to hike. I used to teach yoga. I still love doing yoga.
That's awesome.
I love to read.
Yeah.
So like all of the things that are just
There's a lot. There's
There's
a
a
lot
lot.
there.
Yeah, I'm very creative, so I still do art. I'm more into like, I don't know, like we were just in Tennessee and I found a bunch of feathers, and so I'm making an art project out of my
That's
feathers, and I'm doing
cool.
some like woodworking stuff. So
That's
just,
awesome.
anything that can just make me feel alive.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
If you could only get, like receive,
Okay.
2 treatments for the rest of your life,
Mm.
what are they?
Botox or Dysport, right? So for sure.
Okay.
And then a skin, like something for my skin. I think people are finally, after all these years, coming into the world of taking care of their skin. And so maybe I would say maybe microneedling or something like that, you know.
Love it.
I mean, you could say fillers and things like that, but you can always get a facelift. But you can't really like. I think especially now that I'm getting older, like the thing that I work on the most is just my skin.
Yep. Last question.
Yeah.
What's next for Jennifer Prince and the
Woo.
Institute of Aesthetics?
Yeah. Well, there's actually a lot of fun things. So most people think I'm expanding, and I'm not going to deny or
Confirm.
confirm. Thank you,
Okay.
Lord. That is yet to be seen. However, I'm on the advisory board for some really cool companies
Okay.
that are in Europe right now. So
Mm.
actually, in middle of July, I'm going to Vienna, Austria,
Oh,
for a new filler that's going to be coming here probably in the fall, that is a non-cross-linked filler. So having non-cross-linked fillers open up a lot of avenues for us blending them with things
mhm.
like PRP, PRF, and things that,
That's exciting.
yeah, there's so longevity is like really on the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
I did all my clinical rotation with a functional medicine doctor. So,
Mhm.
just, we're kind of opening up, doing a little wellness here in the practice. I'm being
Yeah.
very picky, choosy about that. But the world of aesthetics is about to become much bigger in our country. So I'm really excited to be a part of that.
I love that. So when's the second location opening?
I'm not
I'm just
confirming.
joking.
No, no,
No, no,
yeah.
no.
I mean, I'll be honest with you about it. Like, I could easily open. So I was going to open in Texas,
Okay.
and then COVID hit.
Mm.
And then I lost a few injectors. And so it just, for me, that was just the universe saying pause.
Just not yet, maybe.
Yeah.
So
And
maybe down the
so,
road.
yeah. And then, I'm like, I could very easily open in Tennessee. Again, that's where I'm
Yep.
from. I just bought a house there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, in the woods. But it's my happy place. And so I have to think about, like, if I work there, is that going to be my happy place? Or do I just stay here and happy and build my business and like work when I'm here and then go peace out in the woods like when I'm
Yeah.
not here?
Yeah. And it's also maybe you just wait and see what happens with this new filler
Yeah.
or if there's other
Yeah.
opportunities, but I love that.
Yeah.
It's not always about chasing what's next.
Yeah. And again, like, just because you have more practices means you have more overhead. It doesn't mean that you have less headaches or more money or any of that.
Right?
Sometimes being small is the sweet spot, you
Yeah.
know?
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your time and
You're
being on here
welcome.
and sharing with
You're
us.
welcome. It was a pleasure. Hopefully, like, somebody that's in this industry that may be struggling right now can hear this,
Yeah.
and maybe I give a little hope and spread that along.
Can people reach you on Instagram still?
Yeah, absolutely. I still check it.
Okay. You
Okay.
still check it.
I still check it.
So, this is the best place to come for trainings, for mentorship, for learning to get treated. It's the best.
Well, thank you.
And yeah. And so, your Instagram, we'll link it in the show notes. But I'm sure if you just type in Jennifer Prince, you'll
Yeah.
find her on
It's,
Instagram.
Jennifer Prince Aesthetics, or Institute of Aesthetics is my business. I offer a new injector immersion training, private training, and
And continued education.
continued education.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Take care.